February 27, 2016, Mejah Books in Claymont, Delaware hosted Dr. Sharon for her third book signing plus meet and greet for her new book, Spirituality and Counseling. Dr. Sharon was able to catch up with old friends and colleagues who expressed their excitement for her first book release.
How does it feel to be signing a book right now?
It feels wonderful. A dream realized, a goal achieved. To God be the glory. You know, there's no limits. No limits.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sharon. I'm
Thank you.
so honored to know you and to be buying your book.
Dr. Sharon has been in my life and our lives for how long now? Since 2005. Yeah. And she told me when she first met me, she didn't want to bother me. Remember this story? Yeah. Because I was so intense in learning my job, so she just left me alone. So, but we became great friends, supporting each other. So, I'm proud of her. Thank you for coming. It's good to see you. Hallelujah.
It's been such a pleasure in my life. I've been knowing Minister Sharon. It was God that connected us together. She has been such a blessing to me. Her book, her information, just her presence has always enlightened me and made me more of a better person. Knowing her, being able to talk to her, being able to just be in her presence, as I said earlier. She's God sent, and this book is awesome.
You're supporting my sister Sharon with her book. Ultimately, my goal is to read the book and get counseled spiritually.
In addition to the meet and greet, Miss M, owner of Mejah Books, moderated a workshop in which Dr. Sharon was able to answer questions about her writing and counseling experiences.
Thought process behind the book, I needed a subject for my dissertation, and that's sort of how it got started. But also, when I did my master's thesis, I wrote on the role of spirituality in counseling. And so I always wanted to expand on that. And so when I was doing the writing for the dissertation, I found out that the American Counseling Association had endorsed 14 spiritual competencies to incorporate spiritual counseling in clinical care. And I started doing the research, and then I decided to write on that topic specifically to flesh it out, you know, how practitioners would actually incorporate spirituality in counseling. And of course, you know, the first thought is the client. Everything is client-based. So you start where your client is at in terms of spirituality. For some people, that's in context of religion. For some people, that's just spiritual practice. For some people, it's universal principles, you know, so you go where the client is. For some people, they're not spiritual, they're not religion. So then you just do regular, you know, therapeutic process and interventions with them. So it starts with the client, and it starts at the beginning with the assessment. You ask people, you know, what are your strengths, and, you know, what helps you, and how do you process things, and what was your last success, what was good about that, what happened when you weren't successful. So everything comes from the client. Everything is client-based and client-focused. So that was some of the thoughts, and I was fascinated by the process that American Counseling Association came up with, and thought this would be a good guide for clinicians, but not just licensed people, but anybody that does counseling could benefit from this. And people who have never been in counseling or never been in therapy could benefit from the process. Like, what is it all about? What is counseling about? You know, it starts with the assessment, the diagnoses, the treatment, the intervention, and then the discharge. And how do I go about that? And currently, there are a lot of stresses in the world. So people don't just come to counseling because they have a disorder. They come because they're struggling with loss, with grief, a divorce, homeless. There are a lot of different reasons why people come to care. And so it helps with people's ability to function in the world, to deal with their stresses, to cope with day-to-day stuff. So that's why this book can be very practical for anybody. My hope is that whoever picks it up, they will get what's for them. So I've fleshed out the 14 principles. I added a chapter in here, a quick pick, suggested reading list with, you know, some of the latest spiritual books, the 4 Agreements, Feeling Good Handbook, Who Moved My Cheese, you know, books that I use in therapy Your soul planned to discover the real meaning of life. You planned before you were born. Very powerful book. And so I put these things together so that people could have some additional resources. So I have a book list. I'm a big person on quotes. Every week I do a quote board in my office for different quotes. It's a bad day, it's not a bad life. That's one of my favorite quotes. And so I put quotes in here as well. And also I put scriptures in here for clinicians and clients. So there's a lot of different tidbits that people could get from this book. Purpose, healing, fulfillment, and just being a better person. Both of those areas work towards those things. So spiritually and counseling, they both have those things in common. So that was some of the reason behind this book.
Can you just speak to the myth that people of color do not need counseling? Because many people of color do not think that, if they have a situation going on, that, hey, let me go and speak to someone.
Right. Yeah. The one of the best lines is, I'm too blessed to be stressed. And,
Right.
that will kill you. That line will
And
kill
you're
you.
very stressed.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're very stressed. And you know what? You
The
don't
blessed are
have to
stressed.
be diseased to
Right.
see a counselor. You could just be struggling with day-to-day things, and having somebody that's neutral, who's not a family member, who's not going to judge you, just to listen to you is so powerful. 50% of counseling is just listening, having someone to listen and reflect back to you what you said. Do you hear what you just said? Do you hear how you're feeling? And so for us, we all, even therapists need counseling. So it's imperative, all of us need to be heard, and all of us have a voice. And so it's important to be able to do that and find the person that you connect with. I'm not the match for every person, but the people that I do see and we're a good fit for, that's a wonderful thing. And I always tell people, if you're not, because sometimes people say, well, that didn't work for me. Well, that was one therapist. Try another therapist. That's my advice, because not everybody is, it's not going to always work. Sometimes it's not a good match. But it's so important that when you're going through something, there are people here that can listen to you and help you and get you through those things. Because we're made to be in community. And sometimes we forget that. We're so isolated, everybody's doing their own thing and running their own thing back and forth. And I got this, I got it. But then when you break down, everybody's shocked. Like, oh, she was so strong. What's going on with her?
Right.
We need, during different times of our life, we need to reach out. And that's so key. And so everybody can benefit from therapy. It doesn't have to be, well, something's wrong with you or you're crazy. Just to process, to do goals. To figure out, am I in the right career? To figure out, should I get married or not get married? To figure out, I've been working all these years, I've never been on a vacation. Maybe it's time for you to take a vacation. So different things. We got some feedback.
She's talking about
Tell people, you're not your diagnosis, you're not a label.
Exactly.
You're bigger than that. It's just something, just like if you have a broken leg, or if you have something else wrong with you, a toothache, a headache. You're not a headache. You don't see anybody walking around saying, I'm a headache. So people are not mental. They have a mental health issue. There's a big difference. And we gotta respect that. And if you have a friend, you see a friend, you know a friend that's struggling with something, suggest to them, you might need counseling. When your friend wears you out to the point where you can't tell them anything else, that's time for them to be referred to somebody. When you've done everything with them, prayed with them, talked with them, walked with them, and you can't take them any further, then you need to say to your friend, you need to seek professional help. It's okay. And it really is okay. I tell clients it's the most courageous thing you can do for yourself, getting help. Because we all need help.
Absolutely.
We all need help. There are things that we struggle with that we can't do on our own. And it's okay. I tell clients, it's okay. People holding on to the past, can't let go of stuff. They're still dealing with stuff in their childhood. Mama issues, daddy issues, no parent issues, no upbringing issues. I didn't have any support. I didn't have anybody to speak out for me. I'm doing the best I can. No one taught me. I don't have coping skills. I never learned them. That's one of the things you learn in counseling, how to cope.
Right.
I help clients to create a wellness toolkit. Pull out your toolkits to help you cope when you're going through stuff. It's very important, because when you know better, you do better. When you think better, you are better. So that's key.
Special thanks to all our guests and visitors who made Dr. Sharon's event a success. Continued blessings to Miss M and Mejah Books as well. Spirituality and counseling is available at Mejah Books. 9th Street Bookshop, and online at Rose Dog Publishing, Amazon.com, and BarnesandNobles.com. Thanks for watching.